Thank you for giving me a space to speak on the issue of multiculturalism. I think I would start with a statement that we, human beings, are very tolerant, and at the same time, we are very intolerant. That's why we talk about multiculturalism. That's why we talk about exclusiveness. I started this with this statement because this morning I noticed both the two in us. That is, we are very tolerant. That is, we see people from different parts, different culture, different ethnicity. We are here, and we are very much tolerant to each other. That is one side of human being, that we are very intolerant. Tolerant. But we are very intolerant at the same time. This morning, we had a guest entered this venue 2 times, but we did not tolerate. Each time, we forcefully evicted the guest because we felt that the guest does not belong to us. Do you know what is the guest? A cat. A cat entered, and 2 times, and each time forced the cat to get out. I felt having a cat here was more natural for us to feel that, yes, we are multicultural. And being in a natural context is more comfortable to be with each other. So multiculturalism is something that we are talking about is actually very, very not natural. That's why we are emphasizing today that multiculturalism is good. Why is it not natural? Because it is inherently contradictory with the theory of nationalism. And it's the theory of nationalism that and it's the structure of nationalism or national state that we belong to today. Nationalism as a theory emerged with the idea that a nation should be composed of exclusiveness, purity of a nation, purity of a particular type of people. That's why we want to be tolerant to each other. That's why we want to take the framework of multiculturalism as a framework of tolerance. Why some countries or some states or people tolerate multiculturalism or adopt multiculturalism, and why some other people and states they become intolerant to or they do not adopt multiculturalism is because of the structure of the state, the system of the state that we are in. The second point I want to mention is that what I understand is that the more natural the society is, the more tolerant the people are. And this I argue from the perspective of the experience of empires in the past. I can mention at least about 3 empires in the past. Just last week, I visited Iran, and I had a chance to visit a historical site. In the Iranian language, it is called Takht Jamshid, or in English term, Persepolis. That's in Shiraz, city of Shiraz. 2,500 years ago, the worlds are still giving the picture, how multicultural the empire was. That was the biggest empire the world ever had. And the emperor was receiving delegates from different parts of the world, and those delegates are coming there with their own cultural identity clearly displayed. So I felt that this was really a multicultural empire, and it was very tolerant. Next, if we come to the next empire, the Roman Empire, it was a universal empire, just like the earlier one, the Persian Empire, very universal empire. Roman Empire was also very multicultural. And next, the Islamic empires we had following the Roman Empire, it was also multicultural. So what I understood from there is that the bigger the universal vision of a state, the more tolerant and multicultural the people are. Opposite to that, the nation-state system today is very parochial. The more intolerant the people are, if the people are not of the same group. Multiculturalism of modern day emerged just about 50 years back in Europe. It's a very recent phenomenon. During the earlier time when empires were there, they did not have to talk about multiculturalism because their vision was universal. Today, the nation states, their vision is very parochial. Their identity system is very parochial. So multiculturalism emerged in Europe just about 50 years back, when in the context of decolonizations, the Asians and Europeans, they are moving there. So before that, the European state system, of course, under the framework of nationalism, was very comfortable, at least because of three reasons, even though there are ethnic diversities in Europe. But nationalism was the most vibrant theory for identity, and they were very much comfortable with each other because of two reasons. That they were all Europeans, they were all Christians, they were all whites. So even if there was certain diversities, but still they could tolerate each other. But then when, from 1960s onward, the Asians and Europeans of different colors and different ethnicity and different religions, they started moving there. They had this problem of accommodation, how to accommodate them. So multiculturalism emerged. So the identity framework of nationalism actually moved from the earlier exclusivism to some sort of inclusivity. But initially, during the first 20-30 years, this was successful because of two reasons, I feel. The one was, Europe was experiencing economic prosperity. And second, because of this economic prosperity, almost all over Europe, there was this trend of welfare system becoming very, very strong. So, because of this, the European societies or state system could conveniently accommodate the non-Europeans moving there under the framework of multiculturalism. But then, 50 years later, 40 years later, when Europe started facing economic crisis, European states, one after another, started declaring or announcing that, first, welfare system is dead. Just about a decade ago. One after another, those states, especially the Nordic states, they started announcing one after another that the welfare system is dead. And because of this, the implication was on the non-white Europeans, that is, the Asians or Africans. So multiculturalism also came to this crisis that no, it does not work. So many societies, they started rejecting multiculturalism. And that's the other side of the rising of white extremism. So I understand that this is because the framework of national identity, and that is based on nationalism, which is very parochial in nature, and that contains the inherent contradiction between the national identity and the people who do not actually naturally belongs to them, belongs to you. So this is the second point. The third point that I wanted to share was that we are talking about multiculturalism, and we are basically focusing on the Muslim issues. If I may give you again 2 examples, and as my fellow speaker mentioned earlier, that should we talk about multiculturalism only in the Western countries or non-Muslim countries, or should we also talk about multiculturalism in the Muslim countries or Muslim societies? I would refer to that. Again, as I was visiting Tehran last week, I was attending the Jummah prayer there. And in Tehran, there is only one mosque that offers the Jummah prayer, Imam Khomeini. I had a very interesting experience there. There are layers of securities. I could count at least 5 layers of securities until I went to the inside the mosque. After I passed at least 4 layers of securities, someone followed me from behind. And I was asked, where is your passport? I turned back and I said, I'm visiting. I don't have my passport with me. My passport is in the hotel. I showed my hotel card. I said, I'm staying in this hotel. They said, okay, please. Now, what I understood from here is that why I was stopped. Obviously, because it's very apparent that I did not belong to that type of people surrounding me. Very obvious because of my complexion, because of my physical structure. So I was easily spotted and stopped. Then I thought that, well, as long as I have passed the security check, why I should be stopped? But then I was stopped. And a non-Muslim is not expected to come there for Jummah prayer. So as long as I pass the security checks, then I should not be stopped. Why I was stopped? Why? Because of this. Now, I wouldn't blame them because the type of the system there or the context that they are going through now, that they will be very, very careful. So, are we there? I had a question: are we really multicultural then, from the Islamic perspective or Muslim society perspective? I came to pray, so I should not be asked, who are you? Next, the same thing I have experienced a number of times in Malaysia also. Police stop me. Where is your passport? Then either I had to show my my university staff card or some other things. They wouldn't accept anything. They said, no, you have to have your passport with you. Sometimes I argued, it's very insecure to carry passport because, probably. So, but then the officer would say, at least you have to carry the photocopy of your passport. All right, I said, okay, next time I will carry it. Why is it so? Because of the same thing. One is security. The other is probably, naturally I do not belong to the society. So, they would ask for my identity. Why is it so again? Because of the structure of the nation state that we are in. So inherently, in the Muslim societies also, we see this tension of belongingness and non-belongingness. So Muslim society, and I think you would agree with me that Muslim societies are very intolerant in the sense of multiculturalism. It is very difficult for me as a Muslim to travel to another Muslim country without having a visa. And getting a visa is very, very difficult in most cases. Whereas it should have been easiest for me, or at least that I should be able to visit any Muslim country without any visa. But that did not happen. And why again? The Muslims, that comes to another question. The Muslims that go to other countries, Western countries, and demand that we should enjoy, we must be able to enjoy the same rights under the framework of multiculturalism. Why? Because there is a substantial number of Muslims who do not feel comfortable to stay or live in their own countries. They feel more comfortable living in those countries and enjoy the rights as citizens. There comes this third point that I wanted to talk about is the inherent tension within Islam. What does the Sharia, what type of permission or laws the Sharia provides for the Muslims? Because the question here is what, as many of the speakers say, especially in the first session, that Islamophobia, or not Islamophobia, terrorism. Terrorism is understood basically in relations to the Muslim community. Why is it so? I feel it is because of the issue of loyalty. In those countries, especially the European or North American countries, they would feel that a citizen has to be absolutely loyal to the constitution and laws and systems of the country that they belong to. But at the same time, they feel that the Muslims, they are basically, primarily, they are not loyal to their government and to the laws of the country that they belong to. This is secondary for them. The primary is that they belong to the Muslim religion, Islamic religion, Muslim Sharia laws, and their own societies. So that gives a kind of understanding that they actually do not belong to us. So that pushes the Muslim society overseas or in a non-Muslim country in dilemma. What to do? Do they belong to the state that they are living in, or do they belong to the universal identity of them, the Islamic religion, which has no geographical boundary? Recently, I have been trying to read on this issue, but in the classical Islamic literatures, the fuqaha that they have produced, I found no laws about how the Muslims should live in a non-Muslim country. What would be their yes, thank you. What would be their point of reference? Should they be loyal to the societies and state that they belong to, or should they be loyal to a higher or a greater system, which is I refer to as the Sharia system? So if this tension is not resolved legally from the Islamic perspective, the problem would continue with the non-Muslim societies. Myself is not an Islamic legal expert, So I cannot give comment on that. But I think this is an area that needs well research now. In the past, the classical jurists, they did not face this problem because at that time, Muslims are not living in non-Muslim territories or societies. So they did not have to deal with this issue. Now, the issue of nationality, if I belong to a German nationality, I have German citizenship, then I am in trouble being a Muslim, whether I am German first or Muslim first. That puts me in dilemma, and that creates lots of confusion. So unless the Islamic legal system provides legal justification or solutions to this dilemma, Muslims overseas will face this type of challenge of integration or non-integration, whatever instruments that the multiculturalism applies or adopts in the system of structure of the state that we live in. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Muhammad Moniruzzaman, for, I think it's very interesting point, especially